Hello students, welcome to the lecture series of fluid mechanics. In our last lecture, we have derived some equation of the various types of efficiencies and we have solved one example based on centrifugal pump. In today's lecture, we will solve another example and we will understand priming process and net positive suction head for the centrifugal pump, right? So let us understand basically one example for the centrifugal pump. So in the given data, a centrifugal pump is running at 500 rpm. So at the given data, rpm n is equal to 500 with the discharge of 8 meter cube per minute. That means q is 8 meter cube per minute. We have to take discharge in meter cube per second. So divide 8 by 60. So 8 by 60, so 0.133 meter cube per second with the head of 10 meter. So manometric head, that will be 10 meter, impeller of 50 centimeter outer diameter. So outer diameter D2 is 50 centimeter, 0.5 meter, and 25 centimeter inner diameter. That means D1 is equal to 0.25 meter. Vents are sent back at outlet at the angle of 45 degree at the constant velocity. So outlet angle, that means beta to 45 degree with the constant velocity of the flow. Vf1 is equal to Vf2 is equal to 2 meter per second. Find the manometric efficiency. So you have to find manometric efficiency. When angle at inlet, that means beta 1. Work done per unit weight of water, that means work done per unit weight, right? So first of all, rpm is given, so we have to solve u1 and u2 at first. So tangential velocity at inlet u1, that will be pi d n by 60. Here d1 is already given 0.25, rpm is already given 500, so we can write u1 as 6.54 meter per second. Clear students? Then tangential velocity at the outlet, then we can find pi d2n by 60. So pi d2, that will be 0.5, rpm is 500 divided by 60, so we can write u2 is equal to 13.09 meter per second. Clear students? So from the rpm we have to find out u1 and u2 first for every example, right? Then we have to draw velocity triangle. So this is the velocity triangle for the centrifugal pump as shown in the every example. Velocity triangle will be drawn like this method. First of all, fluid is enter in the v1 direction axially, so v1, and u1 is the blade velocity in the anti-clockwise direction, so u1 and v1 will be there. So vr1 relative velocity will be there, right? So water will be go outward side in the vr2 velocity. So here vr2 is this, so vr2 and u2, that will be blade velocity at the outlet. So vr2 u2 and v2 will be resultant velocity from the initial to final point. Clear students? Beta 2 angle, that is between relative velocity and blade velocity u2, and alpha 2, that is between v2 and u2, that is known as alpha 2. Clear? Then two components of v2 will be there, vf2 and vw2. Clear students? So let us solve our example. First of all, we have to find tan beta 2 because beta 2 is given. So tan beta 2 is opposite direction vf2. One second. So tan beta 2 is opposite direction vf2 divided by this direction x, that means u2 minus vw2. So vf2 divided by u2 minus vw2. Here beta 2 is given, so tan 45, that means vf2 is given 2, u2 is 13.09 and vw2 is unknown. So from this equation we can solve vw2 is 11.09 meter per second. Clear students? So after that we can find manometric efficiency from this equation, g into hm divided by vw2 u2. So g will be 9.81, manometric head, that means 10, vw2 11.09 and u2 will be 13.09. So manometric efficiency, that means 67.58%, right? From that we can find tan beta 1. So for the tan beta 1 we have to solve opposite direction vf1 divided by nearer direction u1. So beta 1 is equal to vf1 value is already given 2, and u1 we have already found out 6.54. So from that beta 1 will be 16.99 degree, and after that we have to find out alpha 2 also. So for the alpha 2, for the outlet velocity tan alpha 2 opposite direction vf2 divided by nearer direction vw2. So vf2 is already given 2 and vw2 is 11.09. So we can find alpha 2 as 10.2 degree. And at the last, for the work done per unit weight of water, that is known as vw2u2 divided by g. From the our values, g is 9.81, vw2 is 11.09 and u2 is 13.09. So we can solve work done per unit weight as 14.79 per unit weight. Clear, students? Now let us understand what do you mean by priming of centrifugal pump. So this is basic phenomena which we have to apply before the application of the centrifugal pump. So first of all, what is priming? What do you mean by priming? So priming is the operation of the filling the passageways, that means suction pipe, delivery pipe, casing, impeller, from the outside source with the use of liquid before starting of centrifugal pump, that is known as priming process. So when we are going to start centrifugal pump, we have to fill suction pipe, delivery pipe as well as all the casing with the water initially, that is known as priming. So in your mind one question arises that why this priming is required. So this is the answer of it. So when the pump first put in service, its passageway is filled with the air, right? If the pump is running with the air only, then pressure head generated inside the pump is pressure of air. Remember student, pressure of air. Suppose this is our pump, so inside pressure of air, inner side pressure of air, and at the sump level this is pressure of water. We already know about it. Density of air is 1 and density of water is 1000. So pressure of the air is very much less than pressure of the water. So this pump cannot suck the water from the inlet pipe because the inner side pressure is very much less. So we have to fill all the pump with the water initially before starting of the manual process or before starting of the pump process, that is known as priming process, right? Hence the initial water may not be sucked by the pump for the suction area. So for the avoiding this situation, when priming is required, that is known as priming process. Clear students? So whenever we are going to start any type of a pump, we have to fill water inside the suction, delivery side as well as casing, that is known as priming process, right? So let us see one animation video of the priming process. So from this sketch, see here, water is filled from the outer side in the casing. So from the inlet side, water is coming from here, right? So suction pipe is filled, this casing is already filled, and we have to fill delivery pipe also. So whenever this casing is filled with the water, then water will be go to the delivery pipe, right? See this, so water is filling in the casing and then water will be flown in the delivery pipe also, right? Here the pressure relief valve is there. See this working here. Yes, from that water will be flow in the delivery pipe also. So that is known as our priming process. Clear students? So water will be filled in the suction pipe, casing as well as delivery pipe, that is known as our priming process. So basically priming can be done by following two methods, manual and self priming. In the manual priming, we have to fill water from the outer side source with the manually, and in the self priming we have to make one small arrangement in the pump itself. So priming can be done by self process. Clear students? So this is it from the priming process. Now most important topic and last topic for this chapter, NPSH, that means net positive suction head. So that is minimum amount of head required to proper operation of any type of centrifugal pump, right? So let us derive equation of NPSH and let us understand basic concept of NPSH. So first of all, this is sketch of our centrifugal pump. Remember this side, this is a suction pipe, this is sump level, this is strainer, this is center of the eye, this is known as impeller, right? This is known as impeller, and this is outer side, that is known as delivery pipe. Clear students? So this is basic working of the construction of the centrifugal pump. In the centrifugal pump, we have to take water from the sump level to the center of the pump at first, and we have to send this water at the some particular height of the pump, right? So let us derive the one basic equation for the NPSH. After that derivation of this equation, we will understand basic NPSH process. So let us take initial side of the pump is cross section area 1 1 and center level of the pump is cross section area of 2 2. Remember this. So apply Bernoulli equation at point 1 and point 2. So from this equation, Bernoulli equation is P1 by rho g plus V square by 2g plus Z1 for point 1 is equal to P2 by rho g plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2 plus H loss, that means head loss at point 2. Clear students? So from the inlet and outlet arrangement, at the inlet of the pump, this is atmosphere side, so we can write this is head is atmosphere head, so P1 by rho g divided by this is known as atmosphere head. Velocity, inlet velocity V1, so here the water is in the steady state condition at the one section, so we can take velocity V1 is equal to 0, right? So we can take V1 is equal to 0, so V1 square by 2g is 0. Here bottom height Z1 is initial bottom height, that is known as 0. That means P2 by rho g, so we can put P2 by rho g as it is, V2 square by 2g is unknown, and Z2, here there is no difference between Z1 and Z2, this is minor difference, so we can neglect it, so we can neglect Z2. And in the losses, we can divide losses in the two segment, losses in the suction side and losses in the friction side. Clear students? So this is our main equation. Let us take value of P2 by rho g from this equation. So our value of P2 by rho g, that will be P1 by rho g, that is atmosphere head, minus all these values, velocity head plus losses. So from this derivation, we can say this P2 by rho g is always less than P1 by rho g. That means our inner side pressure of the pump will be always less than atmosphere pressure. Clear students? From this equation, we can say this inner side of the pump, inner pressure of the pump or center pressure of the pump will always less than the atmosphere pressure, right? But from the vapor pressure and cavitation phenomena, we already know about it. If we drop down the certain pressure or if we goes below certain pressure, some vapor pressure and cavitation will be formed in the suction pipe also. So we have to take that criteria also for the vapor pressure and cavitation. So our pressure will be less than atmosphere pressure, but for the removal of the vapor pressure and cavitation, our pressure will be always greater than vapor pressure. Clear students? Always remember this, our pressure will be always greater than vapor pressure. So remember this, for the better working of the centrifugal pump, center side I side pressure must be less than the atmosphere pressure and must be greater than vapor pressure to remove vapor pressure and cavitation process. So that is known as net positive suction head, that is minimum head required for the working of the centrifugal pump, that is less than atmosphere pressure and higher than vapor pressure. So one simple question is that why the pressure is always less than atmosphere pressure? So we can understand it by derivation also, but from the simply understanding, this is atmosphere pressure. Suppose this pressure is lower than atmosphere pressure. Clear? This pressure is lower than atmosphere pressure, then only we can obtain this is higher pressure and this is lower pressure. So water will always flow from higher pressure to lower pressure, so we can obtain suction from the outer side. Clear? That for that reason, center side pressure will always lower than suction side pressure. Clear students? So that will be center side pressure will always lower than the atmosphere pressure for easily suction of the centrifugal pump. And for the removal of the vapor pressure and cavitation, pressure will be higher than vapor pressure of the liquid. Clear student? That is known as net positive suction head, right? So that is it from the today's point of view. Thank you for watching my lecture.